Okay.
Good morning. It's a real pleasure to have the opportunity to interview you this morning. I'm talking with Charlotte WWiebe, who's the new, or not so new now, group head of sustainability at TUI. And she's kindly agreed to talk to me. I wanted to start, if I might, Charlotte, by asking you about the experience of COVID for TUI.
Yes, and good morning, Harald. Nice to meet you. And regarding the topic COVID-19 and our industry, of course, it has hit them very hard. And I mean, today you can see more and more effects of that we can't do and can't cooperate and operate together with our partners in the destination out in the world. And it has dramatically effects, I would like to say, on people living in the destinations.
It's a very difficult situation, isn't it, in most places now around the world. And one of the added dimensions, I think, is that if you take South Africa as an example, just as they're coming out of the worst of their lockdowns, the European markets for them are closing down. It's a very difficult situation all round.
Yes.
Can I ask you how you're getting on with the strategy, the 2015 to 2020 strategy? I mean, clearly it's coming towards its end. Has progress been good?
Yeah, I mean, connecting back to what we just discussed, of course, that has had a heavy impact of our possibility, for example, to reach this high objectives of having guests in certified hotels, because when you don't have the guest, it's difficult to stay in the hotel. So yes, it has had an effect of the report, which we will come later.
Do you know when the report will be published?
After New Year somewhere. We're still planning and defining dates.
Well, Charlotte, when it is published, I'd very much like to interview you again, because it is a very ambitious, it was and is a very ambitious set of targets that TUI set itself. Like you, I'd be surprised if in the context of COVID you've managed to reach them, but you would have made a lot of progress, and I look forward to hearing about that. What do you think is going to be next for TUI in this area? What do you envisage? I mean, clearly there'll be some catch up to do on what's not been achieved, obviously, and one understands that. But where do you think the new areas of activity are going to be in TUI's sustainability? You've been world leaders for a long time in this.
Yes, yeah, and our ambition is to keep on being that. And right now we are following quite closely with the Green Deal, of course, and trying to understand and use that as some sort of guide. Of course, we also use Sustainable Development Goals, but I think there are some clear areas for us. And number one, as always, is about consumer and customers. I think the need for us to be more active in guiding and supporting them to make sustainable holiday choices is number one, and that's also highlighted from EU, but it's also something that our consumer are looking for. So that's number one, and customers is always number one for us. The other thing which is very close to my heart also is regarding upskill and reskill of our employees, because I think that exactly the same journey we have done with the digital transformation we need to do with the sustainable transformation. We need to give people the knowledge, the skills, and by that the self-confidence of being how to drive and how to be activate in driving the transformation towards sustainable business models and towards a sustainable holiday choices for our customers. So upskilling and learning, and the ambition is not only to offer that to our employees, but also to our partners, so they can develop their business. So that's the other thing which is high. And I think as all business, it's so important now to upskill regarding data analytics capabilities, because I'm a strong believer of what gets measured gets done. And I think we can do more here. We have done a lot, but we can do even more. And so this is something that we also are putting a lot of effort into the new plan. And finally, I think that what you also can see in more and more industries is that you need to connect sustainability to your business model. So we are talking about moving towards talking about a sustainable business model for TUI. So that's the last area we put a lot of effort. And by that said, I mean, every employee must feel it's their area of responsibility to drive the transformation. So that's in a nutshell, you can say what we are working on right now.
Charlotte, that was very eloquent and very clear. But can I come back to a couple of things you said? Because I think some of it is for me particularly interesting. If I was to say to you that I suspect that TUI has done more than any other organization to educate travelers about sustainability, would that surprise you?
You know, good can always be better. So,
Sure.
yeah.
But it's the sheer number of customers who you move, and your transparent commitment to sustainability must be rubbing off on them. Because, you know, the old adage about you can tell somebody and they might remember, but if you show it to them and let them experience it, they will remember is true. And I suspect that what TUI has done, I know there's no research on this, but I think it'd be fascinating to find out the impact that you've had as a company. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about is something actually I kept badgering Jane about, so I shall probably badger you as well. It does seem to me that companies like TUI have very large numbers of employees, many of them quite young when they join you, and it's in the nature of the industry that we're in. And they make significant progress, but often they need to leave the company in order to get the progression that they want, because the best will in the world, you don't have an endless number of management roles into which people can move. And I think it's great sadness for me that we don't in the industry record. We have no idea where people who came in at the bottom, who didn't stay in the industry or who moved to another employer, we have no idea where they ended up. And human resources tell me all the time that they don't know. I don't think that's true, because actually generally they've given them a reference. I just think we're missing a trick there, Charlotte, in terms of explaining why the industry is so important. You know, I know from my own students that many of them learned their social skills from working in some form of hospitality or in tour guiding or whatever, and we're just not recording that. So from my point of view, it's just a great shame that we don't do it. So I shall continue to ask you about this.
Please do, and I will try to find out.
Yeah, sure. No, I think it wouldn't be that difficult. It's just a matter of getting human resources to do a bit more work. But I think you're absolutely right about the KPIs. It is when you measure it that it makes a difference, isn't it? And are you going to do this to an even greater extent than you're doing it already? Is that the plan?
Yeah, that's our ambition, and I would like to come back to that, because it's still a conversation we're having. Sure. And what sort of tools we should use. You know, we already today use the ESGs for investors and for the finance market, and I think we can connect it back much more to ourselves, but also then find better dashboards, if I may call it that, so everyone in the company can feel that they're participating in driving the transformation.
One of the things that intrigues me about TUI, it always has done, I don't know Germany very well, but obviously a lot of the investment in TUI has come through the German bourse. And clearly in Germany, there does seem to be a lot more attention paid to the sustainability performance of companies than there is, for example, in the New York or London stock exchanges. Is that part of the reason why TUI has been such a leader?
Yeah, I absolutely think that that's a part of it. But I also think as a Sweden, I think that the consumers, for example, from the Northern Europe, including Netherlands, are more and more seeing sustainability as a hygiene factor for their choice of supplier. And I also think there is a willingness of the employees to drive the question. So I think it's a combination, but I mean, the government in Netherlands, in Sweden, Norway, and Finland, and Germany have been very proactive, and that has also helped us to drive the transformation.
I think a lot of people won't be familiar with that concept, Charlotte, of the hygiene factor. could we just discuss that for a minute and perhaps lay out what you understand by that? I think it's a really useful concept, otherwise I wouldn't be picking up with you. But I think it would be useful just to have a brief explanation of what that means in practice.
No, I think that we should understand, we working in different industries, that the consumers are not the one who are going to tell us what to do. They just tell us, this is your responsibility and this is on our concern, so you better fix it. And I think you could see it now in car industry, but you can also see it in food industry and textile industry and fashion and so on. It's coming. So I mean that perhaps you could say that me as a consumer are a little bit spoiled, because if you don't fix it, I will find someone else. Because it's not my responsibility, it is your, as offering products to me.
I think the industry more and more understands that, and clearly TUI, I think, understood that earlier than many. But it does amaze me, I still get people asking me what the business case is for doing something about sustainability. But I think that there are people out there who think that somehow tourists are different from other consumers, that they don't see that the tourism choice they make, where they choose to book their holiday and which company they go with, is going to be made by the same criteria that they choose what chicken or vegetables they buy. Yeah. The hygiene factor matters, doesn't it, across the whole consumption.
Perhaps also that's where we as an industry has to be more proactive, perhaps, and then I come back with this empowering consumer, because I think that and COVID-19 has really shown that we are an industry. If we stop our industry, there is a lot of people in different circles who are affected, and their daily life becomes affected. So we, as every other industry, are an industry supporting societies to develop.
Yes, and creating a very important both for the consumers and the producers of those goods and services which constitute tourism. Yeah. I wanted just finally to ask you about the Sustainability Academy, which I must say I'm extremely excited to hear about. Do you want to just tell us something about that?
Yes, we really have a high ambition here. We would like to launch what we call an open access Sustainability Academy, which means that we will be a common arena, like a university, for people who would like to learn more about sustainability. We will start with our own employees. I mean, we are 70,000 employees, as you know, all over the world. But we will also open it up for partners, and in the next step for everyone who would like to learn about sustainability and the importance of sustainability. And we also, I have stolen it a little bit from Microsoft, this information at your fingertips. Yeah. So you go there and you find all the fantastic information in different levels, depending on your knowledge level there. And I also would like to see cooperation with university in the end, so we can also have a joint there with them.
Well, it would certainly improve, I suspect, the curriculum in the universities if they had more connection with industry. It's rather atrophied in recent years. You're probably familiar with the new Sustainable Hospitality Alliance, which has come out of the International Tourism Partnership. It's very interesting to me that we're seeing TUI and those big brands in hospitality moving very much in the same direction to sharing knowledge. I hope if I can be of any assistance in achieving that, Charlotte, please do come back to me. I'd be delighted to see it. Charlotte, can I just say thank you for an absolutely fascinating and stimulating interview, and I hope that it's the first of many. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.